Hey guys, welcome back to Pepper Geek. Today we're going to be trying 8 different varieties of jalapeno.
So we recently tried a bunch of different cayenne pepper varieties and rated our favorite, tasted them for heat and flavor.
So we're going to do the same thing today. We're going to show you guys the plant, talk a little bit about the flavor, rate the heat level, and then decide what our favorite pepper is.
The only thing that will be a little different is we're going to decide on our favorites independent of each other so that we don't have any bias going into it, and then we'll reveal our favorites to each other at the end and to you as well. Oh, and we'll also pick our least favorite.
Yeah.
If you want to learn how to grow your own jalapenos, check out our ebook in the description below. It's called Growing Perfect Peppers, and we share with you our entire process of growing from seed to harvest.
And you can use the code Jalapeño for a special discount.
If you're interested, check it out down in the description. Okay, so we're going to start with the Jalmundo pepper, which is an heirloom variety developed by New Mexico State University, and it's meant to be a larger jalapeno, and certainly is that. It wasn't the largest of the bunch, but it's got this sort of blocky shape to it, which I really like, which makes it easy to sort of set down if you're going to do poppers or stuffed peppers or anything like that. The average weight on this one was 39 grams, but like I said, it wasn't the heaviest. We'll get to that in a bit. The yields were pretty good on the plant, but they did have a sort of awkward growth. They weren't the sturdiest of the bunch, and they tended to have these sort of spindly branches with lots of pods, so they sort of fell over, and they would definitely benefit from having something like a tomato cage.
What does the word mundo mean?
It means world in Spanish, so I guess it's sort of like big as the world.
Okay. Or the world's best pepper?
Let's find out. Okay, Jalmundo, first one going in.
Alright, I'm not crazy about the flavor of this pepper. At first, I was like, oh, this is pretty good. And then all of a sudden, a kind of funky taste kicked in.
What was that funky taste?
I mean, definitely more vegetal.
I tasted something that I tasted on the cayennes, which is soapiness. And there's some compound that someone mentioned in the comments of that video that I guess cilantro also has. So some people taste soap in cilantro. I got it a little bit here. I think it's a decent flavor, moderate heat level for a jalapeno, right down the middle for me.
Yeah, right down the middle, but ironically, I really liked that pepper that you said had the soapy taste last time.
You did.
And I don't like this, and you're saying there's a soapy taste. So that's...
I don't love this though, but you know, I've had better jalapenos. I didn't dislike it either.
It's peppery. But
it is a little peppery.
Black peppery, not
black
peppery. Yeah.
Yeah, all right, Christopher Columbus.
What?
I don't know.
All right, next we have the Goliath jalapeno pepper, which is the biggest pod out of all of them. This is a hybrid variety with an average weight of about 57 grams.
By far the biggest.
And just like the pods, this was a really large, sturdy looking plant, very manly looking pepper. So in comparison to the other plants, this one actually had very little pest damage or disease.
And that is often true with hybrids, so not really surprised to see that, but yeah, this was one of the sturdiest plants, I think.
Yeah, great for all those windy days we had.
Yep. Yeah, it held up. All right, Goliath.
It's gonna be a long video, mentally, with all this.
Yeah.
I like the flavor of this much better.
Yep, great flavor. I think on par, same heat level, right down the middle in terms of jalapeno heat. It is quite a bit, sort of back of the throat, sort of whole mouth, ember feel, just kind of
yeah,
warming up.
It's a more pleasant kind of heat and a more pleasant flavor. So,
and of course it has the bonus of being huge, no pest issues, no disease issues really, and it was really sturdy, so that's a solid entry.
For sure.
Okay. Next up is the El Jefe pepper over here. This is a partially ripe El Jefe. This is another hybrid variety, and they were pretty big, 33 grams on average. That's a respectable, sort of normal size jalapeno, I would say. This was one of the most prone plants to the pest issues that we had this year. We had stink bugs that were really giving us trouble, especially with the ripening peppers. It might have just been that part of the garden that had the pests more active, but just something to note about the plant. Otherwise, I would say that they had a great pod size and shape, good yields, and I would probably say this is one of the prettier peppers when the pest didn't get to it. I just love the way those look.
Lots of corking, very pretty.
Yeah. El Jefe.
Hey. It's almost, I'm finding it kind of refreshing.
It's got like a bell pepper.
Yeah.
It's just like, tastes like a green bell. I got almost no heat.
No heat, yeah. That's why I said it was refreshing.
Yeah. Yeah, we're definitely going to be struggling. I think it has a touch of heat, so maybe, you know, like a 1 out of 10. Whereas the first two were maybe right up the middle, 5 out of 10. But
and the heat level can vary too from plant to plant, from pepper to pepper. So, you know, if we were to take a slice of this pepper from another plant, it may be hotter, but this particular pod, not bad at all.
I would say if you're going for a milder jalapeno, at least on this particular pepper, that might be a good option for you.
Yeah.
Okay, but I didn't love the flavor. It was refreshing in this setting, but kind of tastes like a green bell. That's not really why I would grow jalapenos. I definitely preferred the first two for flavor.
Next up is the lemon spice jalapeno, and as you can see, this is a beautiful yellow ornamental pepper variety. These are an heirloom variety with an average weight of 21 grams. Pretty small in comparison to some of the other pods. Not the smallest, but... So these are great for adding some color to your garden, and we had the most pest issues with this particular pepper. And I think you were saying you were wondering if maybe the yellow color attracted the stink bugs.
Yeah, we had stink bug damage, and they seemed to go after these, especially when they were ripe. So I just assumed it had to do with that. Who knows?
Yeah.
But in both cases, we had a plant at home and we had a plant down at our garden plot, and both of them had the same issues.
So the plants themselves are very short and bushy, but very sturdy also, so they held up okay when we had those windstorms this past summer. And fun fact, this pepper was actually created as part of the add more color to your diet movement that the Americans started to follow. So if you want to add more color to your diet, try the lemon spice pepper. And I'm actually very excited to try this one.
We're trying unripe peppers, by the way, just because most people will pick their jalapenos green. And so we're going to be trying a green lemon spice. Of course, you could let it ripen through yellow, but lemon spice. I like that.
Yeah, it's definitely almost exactly what I was expecting. It's like a light, fruity, florally kind of tasty pepper. Good heat level.
Surprise, it's hotter than all of the others we've tried so far.
I'm gonna say it's actually like right down the middle for me.
Smaller, but definitely packs a punch. Has an interesting, sort of a bright, almost floral, not like a habanero, but a little bit like flowery and like smoky. It just fills your whole palate with flavor. I hate to break it to you, it does not taste like lemon.
No.
That definitely just alludes to
the
the color.
But it is spicy. It's bright. It's a bright flavor.
Okay, next up is the Jedi jalapeno. This is another hybrid variety, and this was actually the second biggest pod on average at 44 grams. So this is actually bigger than the Jalmundo, and you can see they're just longer. This was also the largest plant that we had down at our garden plot. Really tall, sturdy, strong plant. Didn't really need much support, held up to the wind really well. And there was also really little pest damage or disease on the plant, so just a really good, reliable pepper to have in the garden. Now I did want to note quickly that we used this same variety in our fertilizer test, and those plants didn't really do that well, and I think it had more to do with the soil that we used rather than the variety, because this plant that was planted in the ground did really well.
Yeah, and this variety is supposed to be really resistant to cracking, so... Is there a Star Wars reference?
I don't really know why they named it that. All right, Jedi.
Yay. I'm not really getting much flavor with this pepper. It's almost kind of a watery taste.
Okay, yeah, I think that's like a normal jalapeno flavor and heat. Nothing outstanding, but given everything that goes along with this plant, pretty good showing.
Yeah, this would also be a really good variety to stuff. I mean, the pods are great, really sturdy, and
That sucker.
yeah. All right, next up we have our smallest jalapeno, which is the purple jalapeno. And these guys are really pretty, definitely the smallest of the bunch, weighing in about 12 grams. They're an heirloom variety. The plants themselves were definitely less bushy than some of the other types. A lot of sparse foliage and fruit sets. More of an ornamental type with beautiful foliage.
Yeah. We shared this on our Instagram, and some people mentioned that it might be the Hungarian black pepper, and it definitely has some resemblance to it. So we may have just gotten these from a seed source that called them a jalapeno, when in fact it is the Hungarian black. But we're going to include it in this anyway.
Yeah, and it is worth noting that these ripen to a nice red color, but we're actually going to be eating them in their purple form, which is technically unripe. All right, purple jalapeno, or Hungarian black.
It's actually really cool. It has like green flesh inside, so it's really just the outer skin that's purple.
It's like a goosebumps pepper.
Yeah. Halloween pepper. Cheers. This is the most different so far, in my opinion, for flavor.
Yeah, I feel like I need another slice.
It's got like a bitter flavor to it. Much more bitter than any of the others. Not much sweetness, vegetal, and I would say less heat too.
It tastes like an apple. No. I don't think it's anything to write home about, but...
Yeah, it just tastes like bitter water. I don't know. I don't have a better way of describing it. Not very good in my opinion.
Oddly enough, I'm not getting a bitter flavor, so...
Okay.
Just goes to show you.
I mean, there's two of us,
Yeah,
so
it's interesting.
we got our opinions.
I don't think it's bitter.
I think it is bitter. Where would you peg the purple jalapeno for heat?
Like a 1.5?
Yeah, 1 or 2. It's really low.
It's nothing, yeah.
Next up is the Jaloro pepper, named for this golden color. It starts off as this sort of yellow, ripens through orange to eventually a red color like this. And oro, of course, means gold in Spanish. That's where it gets the name. These were relatively small as well, at 20 grams on average for the pods. And they had more of a pointed shape than most of the others as well, so not an ideal candidate for stuffing. We also noted that these are really packed with seeds, and the seeds are really big, so we don't necessarily love that. And the walls were on the thin side for the size of the peppers. The plants, however, were nice and bushy, really packed with peppers, really dense yields, and really sturdy as well. We did have a little bit of an issue with some leaf spot, but nothing that really reduced the yields at all.
Yeah, these would be great to grow in containers because they're so bushy, not overly tall, too.
Jaloro.
I'm gonna take another slice.
I'm gonna make a weird comparison, but I got a little note of cucumber. I had to search for it. I got the flavor and then I'm like, what is that? It was cucumber, but it's also a little bit bitter. So again, I don't know. Maybe I'm getting more seeds or something, but I'm definitely getting a little bit of bitterness there. But it's not bad.
Yeah, I don't think it's bitter, but it's mild and it doesn't have a strong flavor, and I don't think it's very spicy, so I would peg that at like a 3 out of 10.
Yeah, it's low on the heat scale, definitely.
And you know, the pods are so beautiful, I would definitely choose to grow that over one of the other varieties that has a more mild flavor, just because it looks better in the garden. But...
Yeah, it's cool. It sort of does what banana peppers do. It'll go from this to orange to red.
All right, so home stretch, we are down to our last pepper here, and we're definitely feeling the heat.
For sure.
Next is the Jalafuego, and this guy is apparently the hottest out of the bunch, which is why we saved it for last. It's a hybrid variety weighing in at about 29 grams. So we got great yields from this pepper, pretty vigorous growth overall, and normal size pods. They are a more slender shape, so not ideal for stuffing, but you could certainly throw them into stir fry or pickles and find a use for them in the kitchen. We didn't have any disease issues with the plants themselves, though some of the pods did have pest issues.
Which they all did, really, but this really didn't run into many issues at all.
Yeah, so pretty reliable pepper, and let's see if we're ready for the heat.
I'm ready. So we've tried this one before, but it'll be interesting to compare it side by side with the others.
Cheers.
Jalafuego.
I'm gonna take another slice.
Maybe it builds, but I actually, from this particular pepper, I'm not really getting very much heat. It's coming, yeah. Oh, it's there. But it's not. I mean, these are jalapenos, right? We're not looking at habanero level heat or anything crazy, but I would say it's a little bit spicier than the others.
Yeah, for
not
sure.
tremendously.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting more spice and more flavor too. I think it's definitely more flavorful than some of the other ones.
Yeah, that's a nice flavor.
Nice and balanced. Perfect for crees and chackers.
Crees and chackers.
All right, so we have tried all of the peppers, and now we're gonna decide what our favorite one is.
So we're each gonna pick our favorite, our runner-up, and then our least favorite, and we'll do this in secret, so you can write it on that. I'll write it over here. Okay, let's share our results in 3, 2, 1. Your favorite's the lemon spice. My favorite was the Goliath.
Okay.
Your second was Goliath.
Okay.
And my second was Jalafuego. And then my least favorite was the purple jalapeno. And your least favorite was the El Jefe. Interesting. Okay.
I didn't think you were gonna choose the Goliath.
I just came, we were tasting a little bit while we were deciding, just to get to like refreshers, and just everything about this plant, like the size of the plant and the size of the pods and how many you get, and just the usefulness of the pod as a whole and the flavor too. I tasted it again and it's just got like this underlying sweetness to it and no bitterness. So that's a real plus. And so yeah, I mean, I'm surprised too. I was expecting to like the Jalafuego best, just for its productivity and everything. And it's definitely my runner up, but Goliath.
Yeah, that's great that we both chose the Goliath as one of our top two. And I chose the lemon spice because the flavor is so unique and it's a nice ornamental pepper. It's so pretty and bright.
I really like it too. Obviously it's beautiful, but they're so small and we ran into so many issues with pests, just taking that into account. But it's a really nice sturdy plant and pretty respectable yields. So these are our two least favorite. The El Jefe, I agree, really kind of underwhelming flavor. And I don't know, why'd you not like it?
Yeah, I'm just kind of bored by it. And you know what? We should try a piece of it.
What? I'm done.
Yeah, it tastes like a bell pepper.
I mean, you gotta get into them. Didn't love the flavor still, but.
All right, so that was really fun. Let us know in the comments what your favorite jalapeno variety is, if you have tried any of these peppers, and what your thoughts were on them.
We'll let you know where you can get seeds for any of these if you want to try them down in the description below.
Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.